West Tigers fans, our boys head back to the eighth one of the world in Leichhardt Oval to take on Sean Bloor and the Melbourne Storm. And let's preview that game tonight. Another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Welcome in to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. I am your host, Josh Barnett. Please give us a follow at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and in that, or go to westtigers.com.au if you want to find absolutely everything we do, including the YouTube channel. If you can, if you're on the YouTube channel, seeing all of our regulars stream in, here's your little homework for this week. If you just do the share button, share it to a friend, share us around. Tell a friend that you love us and to listen to us. They might not like us, but let's give us a go. And patreon.com/WestsLife. These people definitely give us a go. They join us in the Discord, and there's lots of fun stuff going on. A few newbies. And on game day, the Discord absolutely goes off. Our little chat room app on Discord, a little channel there goes absolutely off. Plenty of stuff, plenty of fun going on in there. It just costs a few bucks a month to support the show, patreon.com/WestsLife, and we'll get to their questions. So you get to submit a question every week as well, a rant or whatever you like, be part of the show itself as well every single week, and listen to the three of us swear our heads off on game day and say things that we wouldn't say on social media. Speaking of which, a man who has said some very controversial things on social media. Aaron Thompson, how are you this evening?
Yeah, g'day, Josh. G'day, Rob. G'day, everyone watching and listening. I'm doing all right today, mate. It's a bit of a quiet week so far for me. Obviously, tough game coming up. Looking forward to talking about it tonight.
And coming in from the Red Room, Rob Bashara, how are you this evening?
I'm well, guys. Hope you're both well and everyone out there as well. That was a lovely flick pass, by the way, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Really appreciated that. Looking forward to talking about the Storm game and talking about the lineups tonight. And I think we've got a bit of a crack at having a win this week.
How is this? Talk about the show of the world. So Riff's joining us from Miami. He's Monday morning. What is it? Wednesday morning in Miami. No one on YouTube is, and the name no one. Is watching from Belgium. So if I knew some Belgian, I'd say hello. But whatever hello is in Belgium, but shouts to no one listening in from Belgium. I wonder if he's going to Spa Francorchamps. There's some racing going on over there. So, I'd say Guten Tag, but that's German. Close enough. Righto, let's get into the show. And definitely a game that I've penciled in, the return of Sean Bloor, and I'm quite proud of the graphic. He thought it was quite funny, the graphic on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. But Sean Bloor as Zeus with his lightning rod, got his rod in his hand, which is a sight to see. So apparently I've been told, funny enough, speaking to Sean Bloor, that he is called Bloor God of Thunder in Melbourne. I've been told. I don't know if it's true or not. It's the rumor going around. That's his nickname, the God of Thunder, aka Thor Bloor. It's a play on words. They're a crafty bunch down in Melbourne. Speaking of crafty bunch, is chasebet.com.au. If you go to westtigers.com.au, there's a purple button. Sign up to ChaseBet if you haven't already. Once you sign up, before you deposit, send them a little chat in the little chat function. They're really good. They get back to you really quick, the guys at ChaseBet. They're really good, personable bookie, unlike the big conglomerates. Very good with the specials out the wahoo with ChaseBet. Specials that other bookies don't do. So send them a message, say WestsLife sent you, and the guys will help you out, and have a good punt on the footy or the ponies, the dish lickers or ping pong, whatever you like. So ChaseBet, go through the link on westtigers.com.au or the link on our Twitter and Instagram pages. Think about your choices. Gambling help, 1-800-858-858. And we might get a couple of betting tips from Roberto Robstradamus a little later in the show. Okay, a bit of news to start with. So the club did a injury update this afternoon. They posted it on their news on their website, their app, I guess you'll call it. So it's a long list. People forget, before we get into it, guys, like the West Tigers don't get talked about how many injuries we're suffering at the moment. Other teams get a pass, like Panthers, they'll say, oh, Cleary's out for the Panthers. And other teams, they get a bit of a free kick with the criticisms. But we literally still have a ton of guys out of this side and have done for several weeks. And as it just seems like it doesn't matter. It's the West Tigers. They're not good players anyway. But like the likes of, we've still got Papali'i, who's our big back rower, big signing of a couple of years ago. We're still littered with injuries, this club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those annoying things, probably. And I think what you said is right about how they kind of don't see our players as good, quote unquote, players at the level of, say, Cleary and Tom Trebojevic and anyone else who's been out injured for a while at their clubs. Kalen Ponga is another example who's back this week. But yeah, you see a lot of these outs for our team and they aren't talked about. And I think it's probably because we are a little bit lower on the bottom of the ladder and we're not doing too well. But yeah, make no mistake, I remember reading, I think it was like the mid-season report article from the Fox League Twitter account, where they basically said for some clubs such as Parramatta, missing Mitchell Moses and Clinton Gutherson for long parts of the season, and how that's kind of affected their season. But there wasn't a word about the injuries we've suffered and just we're struggling again. We're destined for a third spoon, yada, 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 yada. But yeah, looking at this injury report, we're probably about to go through them, but I'd say at least 3 of those guys are probably in our best 17.
So here are the updates from the club. So Isaiah Papali'i is out. He's 5 weeks post syndesmosis repair. I think my Pacific Islander pronunciations are bad. Wait till I get in some Latin words here. But he's due back round 21. Stafford Toll is doing really well since his hamstring tear. He's going to have a fitness test next week and could be available for round 19. Junior Tupou is 2 weeks since another surgery for his Liz Frank injury. I don't know if I spelled Liz Frank correctly there. This is just...
You definitely did not. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Liz Frank. Is it a Liz Frank? I just use an app to to go behind the fourth wall here. I just use an app to get Mr. Moose's voice into words and try to fix what I could. But I don't know. Liz Frank, whatever. Yeah, not that many people even know what that is. But he's due back round 21. Jaden Sullivan, 2.5 weeks since his repair for a broken finger. He'll be available this week. I believe he's in Cup this week. Alex Twal, he went and saw a neuro team to look at his concussions. He's back for round 20. Alex Lobb, he's also seen some head doctors for his concussion. He's back this week. He's in Cup 2, I believe. Brendan Tumeth now got a concussion in New South Wales Cup last week. So he's got to go through the protocol. So he's probably likely out for a week or 2 as well. So Rob, plenty in the rehab list there. You kind of forget, how many guys are out for this team.
I was only a couple of weeks ago. We had 14 of our starting 30 from the squad out, as well as 2 development players. I'm going to flip this the other way, guys. I actually think, obviously we don't want anyone to get injured. Don't get me wrong. I think it's been a great thing for the club. Let's think about it. Our season was over in May. Okay, start of May. We're already pretty much gone. And you look at the guys that have got a little bit of experience, guys who've got a lot of experience. For example, it seemed like Justin Matamua was the 1,000th choice to play lock. And he's finally got his start, and he's actually making good of that start. We've seen, Ruben Porter get a chance and play a few good games. And we're getting to see what the boys can offer and what they can't offer. So as much as it hurts to say this guy's not available or that guy's not available, probably with the exception of Papali'i, I don't think, no offense to the rest of the players, it makes much of a difference. But it's so good that a lot of these guys in the extended squad are actually getting game time, getting experience, and more importantly, getting a chance to develop their game. And the coaches can see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what they've got to work on. And honestly, I hope we play a lot more of these younger guys for the rest of the year. That said, our starting pack looks really bloody good this week, and it's probably as strong as I've seen for a long time. But it hasn't hurt that these guys got a taste of it and just can go back and work on their game. And, hopefully they'll be better for it in 2025, those that stay with the club.
Emmanuel points out on the YouTube comments there, Olam's missing from this list. Yeah, they didn't mention Olam, who he's been named in the squad jersey 22. We'll get to that later. He's not in the run-on side, and I don't believe he's named in Cup. So could that be a hint that basically Olam will move into the starting side? But we'll talk about that when we get to the team list. Sorry, Rob?
I said I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be a big in for us, obviously. But on the news, NRLW season, the Harvey Norman season starts this weekend. Our West Tigers girls get started in that NRLW season not far away and we've announced our 2 co-captains.
Yeah, we have. It's the same co-captains as last year, and I thought they did an absolutely spectacular job. So very happy for them to get the nod again. Obviously, Noddy has a lot of faith in Bo and Kezi to lead the team around. Obviously, you've got the experience of Kezi up in the forwards and the experience of Bo down in the back line, directing the troops around from fullback. I'm looking forward to this season. They had their season opener dinner, I think it was last night, and looks like it was a great success of a night. And there were a lot of people there, which is really good to see that the girls are getting a bit more of the support than normal. And they've got their first run around. Not all of the girls, but I think like 10 out of our starting 13 from last year are having a run around in the game this weekend. Obviously, a few girls aren't. You've also got, I think the girls have an NRLW trial. Maybe next weekend it might be against the Broncos at Suncorp before they play the Dragons in first grade. So there's the season is coming, and it's coming fast. Yeah,
can't wait for that to preview 2 games at once. Maybe we'll get another NRLW lady on the show too this year. Now that we have a management that doesn't block players talking to us. Righto, let's get on back to the men's game for this week. So taking on the Storm at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoon at the 8th wonder of the world, Leichhardt Oval. As run us through the team list.
All right, Jareem Buller is at fullback. Luke Lolaii is on the wing, along with Charlie Staines, who has returned. Solomon Fa'atape is being moved into the centres, with Adam Dewey as the other centre. Lachlan Galvin and Aiden Caesar are the halves. Stefano Utoikamanu and Whenua Pole are the props, with Api Coruscant at hooker. John Bateman moves into the starting side, along with Samuel Afenu in the second row. Justin Matamua is at lock. Heath Mason comes back onto the bench. Sione Fainu, Alex Seyfarth, and David Clemmer make up the rest of the bench. Ruben Porter is 18th man. The rest of the reserves are Talon De Silva, Solomon Aliamalo, Kit Lolaii, and Justin Olam.
Sorry to sidetrack a little bit. Just a reminder, if you're watching on the YouTube stream at the moment, give us a little like for this episode and help us with the algorithm of this episode as well. Just notice we only got a couple of likes, but hundreds of you watching at the moment. Righto, Rob, the main changes here. Heath Mason back on to the bench. So not a lot of changes from Benji, but like we just said before, maybe a few last minute ones to come.
Yeah, and obviously Brent Naden's out and dropped, I believe, to fullback in New South Wales Cup. Fata Ape moves to right centre. As you just alluded to a few minutes ago, Josh, I'm really hoping that Justin Olam does come into that left centre position, which will then switch Adam to right centre. playing alongside Charlie Staines on the right wing. And
Mm.
I'll be straight up. If Olam plays, I think we win. If Olam doesn't play, I think we lose. But I think it's going to be a really tight game. So we'll just see how that all goes. But look, love the look of the starting pack. Happy for Heath Mason to be on the bench. He's got he's got some versatility there, and he can play a number of positions. So look, I think it's a good team. I think we're going to have a wet track, as I mentioned Monday night. Even though we've had a couple of sunny days with only rain at night, I still think it's going to be damp conditions, greasy conditions. And you'll probably touch on it later, Josh, but we've got a pretty decent record against the Storm at Leichhardt. So looking forward to the game. And look, I never thought we were going to match up against the Roosters. The Storm are very match tough, and they're winning ugly every week. They really aren't blowing any teams away, and they're struggling to win. So that's probably a good sign for them. But I think we can take them. So we'll just, hopefully we get a good crowd out there, whether it's raining or not, and the boys put on a really good show.
Charlie Staines, I saw got a lot of flack. Him returning to the starting side. I think he gets a lot of flack purely based that he's not super tall like Lob City or other wingers. But I don't know. I saw him play in Cup last week, and he looks way better than the guys in Cup. I think our fans really underrate him. I think he's a very solid winger. Like defensively, he's really good. And in terms of the high ball, I can't remember off the top of my head of him going against the Storm. I might eat my words with this because they've got two wingers that can take a few speckies, to use a Melbourne term. But I don't know, Charlie Staines, I think, is better than the fan base give him credit for. A lot of people spewing that he's back in first grade this week, but I think I don't know, he's safe. He's safe, Charlie. He gets the job done. Very rarely do I think that that he doesn't look right out there, and he works hard as well.
I will say the one thing he has going for him right now is he's a right side better than Brent Naden out there. And I'd much prefer Charlie out there than Brent Naden. So I do think Charlie is slept on a little bit in that regard. He, like you said, he's very safe. He's good with the high ball. Probably not to level of a fullback, but as a winger, I think he does the job there. He's got a good finishing ability. Defensive, he's a little bit of a worry, but as are Brent Naden and a lot of the other players in our squad. But yeah, I'm looking forward to him having a go. Like you alluded to, the Storm have two very good wingers, so he's going to have his work cut out for him, whichever one he's marking up against, but we'll have to see.
Don't forget, Coates is out, guys. Xavier Coates is out, so he'll be marking the new. Yeah, Coates did his hamstring last week. He's out for a few weeks.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but sweet. I mean, Charlie's wholehearted, guys. I mean, I don't think he's the ideal winger that the West Tigers want and the coaching staff wants, but the guy can play a number of positions too. He'd make a good fill-in at fullback. He's just not elite, but, having watched him live, especially a couple of weeks ago at Campbelltown, I was in awe of how hard he was taking the hit-ups. His hit-ups were really strong. He gives his everything, and, okay, he might not be the best player in the world, but I can't knock a bloke that gives it his all every week, and that's what he's done, since he's been a West Tiger.
I don't know if you guys heard the Behind the Raw with Lockie. Who was Lockie with?
Talon,
and I'm trying to think because they had two.
Might have been Jordan Miller or something,
or Heath Mason, maybe,
because
they did two groups of three. I'm trying to think who the three were, but anyway, they were talking about. They had no idea. They were doing a trivia question. And they asked about the sevens. They'd never heard of the sevens. They're like, "What the fuck is the sevens?" Had no idea that West Tigers won the sevens in 2004. But they were talking off the cuff. Were just saying, "Oh, who would you pick if we had to make a sevens side?" And Charlie Staines was basically the first one picked by them. They're like, "Oh, we need speed." Charlie Staines is definitely. They said Jareem and Charlie are basically the two go-to guys there. So. In terms of training and stuff, he's got the athletic ability, and the players really rate him. So I think, I don't know, it'll take one Adam Dwayne style runaway intercept, and maybe the fans will fall in love with him again. Maybe we just need that a Charlie Staines moment or something to get the fan base on side. But it's the same with Adam. I mean, speaking of Adam Dwayne, again, there's people. I mentioned this on Monday's side. People. Also bagging him out saying he didn't play well on the weekend. But I thought, Rob, you gave him the 3 points and you're 3-2-1. I thought statistically he was the number one meter eater. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about. I mean, I guess I'm only taking, there's thousands of West Tigers fans out there, and maybe it's only the three I noticed on Twitter. And the complaints are always louder than the compliments, I guess, Rob.
Look, everyone's frustrated, and they want everyone to be at their best every week. I think our expectations are not very real. Even I don't know if you're mentioning this at all, Josh, but there was an article by, I'm not sure of her surname, but Fatima, someone or other from the Daily Telegraph, saying that our experienced players have let the side down. And okay, like maybe last week, I think Appy and Aiden certainly could have set a better tone, especially with the last tackle options. But Aaron, you might be able to help me out here. I'm pretty sure there'd be only about 4, possibly 5 blokes at the most, but I'll stick it safe with 4 that have had over 100 first grade games. Like maybe Bateman, Coruscant, Caesar, Clemmer. I can't think of anyone else.
Steph hasn't cracked 100 yet, has he? Yeah.
So we've got 4 blokes there that probably played over 100 games. And don't get me wrong, some of those have played closer to 200 games, but the rest of the guys are sort of, some are hovering between 50 and 100, and most of them are hovering under 25 games. So whether they're letting the side down or not, like, you're expecting too much of those players. If they all play at their best, you still need the other 8 guys on the field, 9 guys, how many there are left, to be, of reasonable standard. And it's just hard to compete at NRL level with so much inexperience. And we just have to be realistic. It doesn't matter if you're a superstar kid like Lockie. Lockie still needs time. He's going to have a magnificent game like he did against who was it the other week, Canberra,
Raiders,
and then he'll put a couple of grubber kicks that go dead in goal the next week, and that's just part of his learning curve. And I don't get frustrated when I see that, because I think the bloke's young. He's in his first season. You can't expect someone to just come into first grade and just snap their fingers and they're just ready made. It doesn't always work like that. So I think we just have to be a little bit more realistic on everything. And like I said, I love a lot of our younger guys. Given the season's over, there's roughly something around 10 games left with a bye, so they get 9 games. Just give them as much game time as they can. Just keep mixing it up. Just manage the workload. If one forward's playing 70 minutes one week, put him on the bench next week, or give him a rest. Get someone else in from New South Wales Cup. Just give everyone a bit of a go, and just build for next year, and just get some more game time for everyone.
As Johnny Bateman back in the starting side, came off the bench last week. Ruben Porter is the man that gets dropped there. I saw a few people saying that Ruben Porter's been a bit ripped off here. So Ruben Porter's on, I think he was on a training trial, and then Johnny Bateman's on pretty good coin. But yet people, I know money isn't everything, and Porter, credit to him, he came in and did a job. But yeah, Johnny Bateman, I think, deserves, after a game back last week, I think he deserves a starting side. You're on mute, Az.
Yeah, for sure. I think we always need to have our stronger players starting. Obviously, John's got a lot more experience than Ruben, and that kind of works in his favour. And it's really hard to put Ruben in, especially over someone like Samuel Afenu, who's having an absolutely stellar season for us, probably one of the signings of the year across the entire comp, despite our lowly ladder position. It is a little hard for him. Obviously, I do feel like he has been a little bit hard done by, but with John back, and Samuel are doing well, it's unfortunate, but he does seem to be the one who just barely misses out there. Seyfarth has been in the team for a little bit longer, so he's got a little bit more experience working with a lot of the players, and he adds a lot of good value off the bench. But yeah, Ruben being 18th man obviously doesn't mean he's going to be playing, but means he could have a chance to play.
Rob Heath Mason back on to the bench. How do you think Benji's going to use him?
I just think Benji will use him when and if he needs to use him. I mean, he came on quite late against the Titans. And I think he didn't get to play against the Raiders. So I just think it'll just be a matter of whether injury or someone feeling fatigued. That'll determine if he comes on or not. But I wouldn't expect him on till late in the game. And just to touch on Ruben Porter, I think, look, I mean, I don't think he's dropped because of form. I think his stats, especially against the Roosters, were really good in the first half. But you've got now Bateman and Fainu that are 80-minute players. So there's just no need for another edge player. Everyone else can cover the middle. And he's there as 18th man, most likely if something happens to one of those back rowers. But Heath Mason, again, he'll just get a little bit of utility time. Hopefully Buller doesn't go down or Appy doesn't go down or one of our halves doesn't go down. But I know he can do a job if he gets to play in any of those positions.
Righto, moving on to the Storm of Melbourne. Run us through the Storm squad.
I just need to double check before this one, Josh. Are you sure your heart's able to handle this one? Are you sure you're ready?
Yeah, I'll get the harp noise ready.
Okay, fullback returning to their team again. Ryan Pappenhausen, Will Warbrick and Kane Bradley are the wingers, with Grant Anderson and Jack Howarth in the centres. Tyron Wishart and Jerome Hughes are the halves. Tui Kamikamitha and Josh King are the front rowers, with Bronson Garlick at hooker. Sean Bloor and Eliesa Katoa are the second rowers, with Trent Liero at lock. Sualavi Farlongo, Christian Welch, Nelson Asofa Solomona and Joe Chan are the bench. Remus Smith is 18th man. Alec McDonald, Dean Eremiah, Chris Lewis and Lazarus Valepu are the reserves.
Rob, where do you want to go first? Ryan Pappenhausen had a week off last week, I believe, for injury. He's back at fullback. Do you think he's going to be pretty dangerous playing back at his junior club?
He's always dangerous, guys, especially from kicks from the Melbourne specialty move where they have him, coming in from an out-in play. Obviously, Farlongo's on the bench still, so they've got coverage for that, and that Farlongo's got the most amazing footwork. So they're blessed to have two talented fullbacks like that. Look, surprisingly, obviously, we'll talk about your favourite, Josh, and I think the back rowers for the Storm are a big danger. Jerome Hughes is in magnificent form. We've got to watch. He can do so much on that right side. He can pass short. He can pass long. He'll shape to kick. He'll step off the right foot. He's got so many moves to his game. But the guy that's interesting this week for me, and he's been a sleeping giant, is Asofa Solomona. He's hardly got game time for literally 2 months. Been in and out of the squad. And then last week I watched his game, and I think he had something ridiculous like 16 hit-ups in 30 minutes. So he's trying to make a point. He doesn't want to be shipped out of Melbourne, and he wants to stay at Melbourne Storm. So I really think we're going to have our hands full with Big Nelson this week. So he's one to watch. But, we are lucky that they're still missing Munster. They're still missing Harry Grant. They don't have both centres, Remus Smith, Nick Meaney. They lost Xavier Coates last week. They've got a ton of outs. We've got a damn good pack. I know Aiden Caesar missed some tackles last week, but I like our halves combination. If Buller plays, I think we've got a really solid team, and I think we can put it to them. So, but look, they're just more match hardened, and they play better than us. They understand their game better than us. Every player knows their role, and we just have to be just as good as them this week. And for some reason, Leichhardt's brought the best out of us this year, so I'm really hoping we can go 3 for 3 there.
So, of course, the beautiful man that's coming back to play against his old club, of course, talking about Kane Bradley. What are your thoughts on him?
I honestly haven't seen too much of Kane since he left the Tigers. It's a tricky one. I think they've moved him to that side. I actually don't know what side of the field he plays on, but he was
Warbrick's right, so I'd say
was he at Balmain Junior?
Yeah, Warbrick's the right centre, right winger, so he'll be on the left.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but just quickly, this would be Ryan Pappenhausen's first game at Leichhardt since he left the Tigers, wouldn't it? I don't think he's played against us there yet.
I can't remember the last time we played them at Leichhardt.
I've got that. I've got the stats for that. I'll see if I can find
2018, I think, maybe.
Let me see if I can bring up. Keep talking. I'll bring up Ryan Pappenhausen's. See if I can find that stat. But yeah, keep going, Naz.
Yeah, so just looking a little bit more at the rest of their team, Grant Anderson in the centres is a bit of an interesting one to me. He seems to be more of a winger. Don't know how he's going to go in the centres. Maybe that could be something we could exploit. Tyron Wishart's been filling in quite well for Cameron Munster as well. And like Rob said, no Harry Grant still is a big out for them. Just briefly on Sean Bloor, I do like how the NRL Twitter account posted that comparison of Sean and Sam Weller, who Josh was saying might become his new favourite at the Tigers, but he didn't want to wanted to be a little bit coy about it, I guess. And it just so happens that the ex-Tiger who was Josh's favourite and the current Tiger who could become Josh's favourite were the comparison. I did enjoy that. Moving to their bench, Sualavi Fa'alongo adds a lot of impact. I think he can fill in any position in the backs, which is important for a team like the Storm if they do have something go wrong. He's also incredibly fast, but I think Ryan Papenhuyzen is probably still the fastest player on their team. Christian Welch, she's a workhorse. Like, there's a lot in this team that are basically a well-oiled machine. But in saying that, they might be top of the ladder by 2 wins at this point, but they're not winning comfortably. They seem to be in a habit of winning ugly. They haven't had a lot of really solid wins this year, and even some of their really solid wins, like the Anzac Night game against the Rabbits, they really let the Rabbits back into it. They scored a bunch of points against them. I think it was like a 52-22 or something along those lines. Like, they've just been in that habit of winning ugly, and maybe coming up against us at Leichhardt, which is where we've been playing our best footy for the most part so far this year, could be the place where we might be able to get the job done against them.
So this is only the 3rd game for Papenhuyzen against the West Tigers. He's only played them once at home and once at Combank. So, yeah, he's never played at Leichhardt. It's only his 3rd time playing against us, which is pretty... I mean, he's obviously suffered a lot of injuries in his career, but I feel like he's been around quite a while. Right. The fact it's only his 3rd time he's played against his junior club, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have realised that he hadn't played at Leichhardt against us before.
Slade Batty said Ball's copying a booing. Don't boo him. We're not assholes like Parramatta fans. Don't boo him. He wanted to stay. He wanted to stay, and then old mate that's fucked off back to Manly told him he didn't have a contract, and he met with Bellamy when they were in Newcastle, and yeah, he took the opportunity down Melbourne. It wasn't his fault. He really wanted to stay. He could have been there, and then yeah, dickhead old mate. What's his name? Fulton. He fucked that up. So boo him. Boo Manly. Boo him when Manly come play.
Save the boos for when Luke Brooks gets back to Leichhardt in about 6 or 7 weeks' time or so. Yeah. Sean doesn't deserve the boos. Like Josh said, he wanted to stay. He wanted to be one of those players who turns the club around, and I full credit to Sean, the way he handled things. Obviously, it wasn't what he wanted, but he's absolutely killing it down there for the Storm now.
Yeah, be happy for him. Like, we can't keep him all. And it was in a swap as well. Like, if a player just is doing a Stefano and like talks his way and F's off and abandons ship, it was in a trade deal as well. So we got Olam in return, who apparently was hanging before Olam came to the West Tigers. He actually showed Sean around Melbourne and helped him out as well. So they actually, funny enough, became quite close and hung out together before going their separate ways to the opposite club. So yeah, I'll boo you. If you boo Sean, I'll take some knuckle dusters or something. I'll fight you if you're in the Latcham stand and you boo.
I'll likely be sitting up there next to you, Josh. And if there's any boos when Sean gets the ball, I'll get first look at how you handle the situation.
Yeah, I'll cut you. I'll put a knife in your shoe or something. What side will he be? Who'll he be against? Johnny or Samuela?
He'll be against Sam, Johnny. No, Sam's been on the left. Like, I know they both play left, but surely Sam's not going to switch to the right. He's been such a weapon all year. Surely Johnny goes back to his natural right side. Surely that means he'll play left, won't it?
Sure. So who's he going to go against?
I think Johnny Bateman should be up against Sean Bloor. Like, if I don't see Benji changing Sam Weller, as he's been playing on the left literally all year since he got concussed against the Dolphins. I think he's been on the left in every game that he started, that he came back.
And it's two guys that are known to ruffle some feathers and get close to their opposition players. So what are the odds that there's a bit of a shirt front between Johnny and Sean in this one?
Sean won't start anything.
Sean never starts him. He never starts him. He just
he
seems
to.
Like, we all remember Nathan Brown
exactly
getting his ass handed
in his
to
debut.
him. And
it was his debut as well for Sean.
Like I can't remember what game it was. The Storm. Like Sean was just literally laughing in a guy's face that was getting in him. I'm trying to think who it was a couple of weeks ago, but it was hilarious. He doesn't start him. He just plays hard and then it annoys the opposition. So I don't know. We'll see. But it might be friendly banter between the two. I don't think there's any bad blood between Sean and his former teammates. So
you're absolutely dreaming if you think the Storm aren't going to run out on the field and that there's not going to be booze everywhere. It doesn't mean they're for Sean.
Yeah, I know.
It's just for the team. Like, I don't think anyone,
of course.
Nothing's more about personal Sean.
Maybe
they don't really
read the name. His first carry and they and he gets booed then potentially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I won't be doing that. I got too much respect. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I hope not. You
got to respect the players who want to be there to turn the club around, even if they don't end up being there, because it's not always on the players. It's often on the players' manager or the current coaching or the staff at the club who were responsible for the decision.
What players do we boo? What players are okay to boo? We boo Moses. He's probably number one.
Yeah.
For us, do people boo Teddy? Still?
I don't. I don't.
I think some probably still do. Brooks is absolutely going to cop it when we play when he comes back later in the year.
I think Maddo would cop it.
Maddo would, yeah. Aaron Woods did for a while, but he
maybe
doesn't
half
really
the
play
Manly
as much
team
anymore, and I think that probably has died off. I don't know.
I hope
maybe
Woodsy.
Manly as well.
I hope Woodsy gets picked first grade when we play Manly later. Right. Speaking of Storm, people running out. We've got our Storm man himself, Gobs. How are you? Welcome back to the WestsLife Podcast. We're just talking about your team and if we're going to, how much booing there will be for your side running out and Leichhardt. And but welcome back to the WestsLife Podcast, buddy.
Thank you, gentlemen, and good evening, everyone. And to answer your question, there'll be plenty of booing.
Are you heading out to Leichhardt? Because you live out Campbelltown way, don't you? So a bit of a trek.
Very good memory. No, I live at Oran Park in Camden, so in the Greater Macarthur area.
Yep.
Yes, I will be out there.
Oran Park. I wish it was still a racetrack, but anyway. What are your thoughts on the matchup on what day is it? Saturday. What are your thoughts? And you got a few outs in this game.
Yeah, problematic time of year. I think every team right across the board is affected during this time of year, which obviously coincides with Origin. So if anything, I think this brings both teams closer together. The weather will probably play a role in that as well. I think there's some wet weather that is going to be forecasted for the clash. But just on the two lineups themselves, the return of Ryan Pappenhausen again is a good thing for the Melbourne Storm, considering last week they only had one of their first choice spine members with Jerome Hughes. Everyone else was a depth player in those positions. And whilst you've got the luxury of the diminutive and enigmatic Saw Farlongo, he's no Ryan Pappenhausen. He's still very raw, he's still very green, and he's got some, shall we say, fragilities in his game, which will only come with time as he gets more NRL experience. So on the basis of looking at the 1-17 of how the Storm currently sit, I expect there will be some changes. I don't envisage to see Kane Bradley starting on a wing, primarily because over the past 18 months, he's been playing in the back row in the feeder system for the Melbourne Storm. He started the year as an edge back rower as well. And even when he did come onto the field last week, he did play second row. So I do envisage that there will be a change to the 17 as it currently looks. that potentially could come in the form of Su'a-Fa'alongo going straight onto the wing. But
Right.
Bellamy might want to see him remain on the bench and have that X factor, which means that Dean Iramia, who's named in the extended reserves, may come onto the wing and play his second NRL game for the season.
Okay. Yeah, right. You mentioned Ryan Pappenhausen having lots of comebacks. It's quite ironic that he's got hair like a young Johnny Farnham too.
Mm.
Yeah, Rob, some interesting, revelations there from Gobs there?
Oh, well, it makes a lot of sense because, as you know, Gobs alluded to, Aramia played what I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gobs, but he played against New Zealand a few weeks ago.
He did.
And I think he got a try there as well. So that seems a logical choice. But I've never known Bellamy to sort of be one of those guys to, play ducks and drakes with the naming of the team. Like, I just thought he would have named him straight there because it was probably the obvious choice. So I don't know what the reasoning is behind it. But, yeah, I'd be very surprised if it was just a sort of a ploy just to throw us off.
Yeah, he's quite actually well known for having throwing up many smoke screens. So very, very often you'll see that the 1 to 17 isn't the 1 to 17 that runs out, and it may be a subtle change. It may be only one or two. It's not like the old Brian Smith name 17 and run out a different 17. The way he used to do it, but. No, but Bellamy's quite well known, very conservative, goes on the errs on the side of caution, consults his medical team. And so usually when all that is named on a Tuesday, a lot can transpire over a period of 72 hours leading into a game. So again, it wouldn't surprise me to see this team not run out as per program.
Okay, yeah, we're expecting, I don't think you heard us talk about it before. We're probably expecting maybe Olam to come in for us. So, yeah, we'll have to see, I guess, 24 hours out from the game. So what's that, Friday evening to see, if the teams do make some changes. Talking about my man crush, Sean Bloor, trying to work out because we've got Johnny Bateman back on an edge this week. And then he and Sione Fainu are both, Samuela Fainu are both, play on the same edge. We're trying to work out who Sean will go against. Any preference for you?
Not really. Sean plays primarily on the left. So depending on who is going to line up, I'm assuming that's going to be Bateman because I think Fainu.
We're trying to work that out, yeah.
Yeah, I think Fainu's primarily been playing on the left from what I've seen of the West Tigers games this season. So that would, I'd assume that Bloor will be up against Bateman in that regard. In saying that too, Bateman, as we know, is very unorthodox, doesn't play your traditional line running edge back row, loves to bob across field and cause that sort of chaos in terms of pulling edge defence apart. So that's one thing that the Storm have always struggled with, even when he was playing with the Raiders, where he has that propensity to sort of cut back infield and go out of his system. And that sort of throws off your opposition defence. And then all of a sudden that causes a bit of havoc and panic in and around the ruck area.
Oh, no, we lost.
Inward, and it sort of leaves exposed.
How has the fan base taken to Sean, Gobs? Are you guys looking after him? You treating him well?
We are, Josh. We're looking after your boy. Okay. He's enjoying life down in Melbourne. I know his partner. I know this might be a sore point for you. His partner,
Bianca. Yeah.
She's enjoying. Yeah, she's enjoying the Storm.
Shouts Bianca.
In Melbourne. Obviously struggled in the preseason. Really, really struggled with the workload and the volume that the Storm were doing. He wasn't used to that. But he's really adapted and really built his game as the season's gone on.
Yeah, the rig's looking fantastic. I quite liked that most of the shots of the preseason, Sean didn't have a shirt on, not only because obviously it's nice to look at, but obviously seeing him not wear purple, just avoiding him seeing him in purple is also a plus. Boys, any questions for? I like how you got Stormy Daniel as your username there. Very apt as we head into US election time.
Yes, we are. That's exactly right. I thought I'd go with that theme.
Yeah, nice. Any questions for Gobs, guys? Or anyone in the comments got a question for Gobs?
I'll throw one up while someone can come up with another question. So, like, just seeing as Sean Bloor is Josh's favourite subject, mate, has he exceeded your expectations this year?
Subject, he's a person.
Bloor,
he's a person, but it's the subject of the person.
You're right.
As in, like, did you expect him to cement a first grade spot and, you know, be one of the leading offloaders in the NRL and all this? Like, the way he's playing is fantastic.
Yeah, I did. Rob, I watched him come through the Panthers junior system, and he was always destined for first grade, right? It was just a matter of where was he going to fit in that sort of that Penrith system. Obviously got his opportunity at West Tigers, and unfortunately injury really crippled him, and we didn't probably get to see the talent sort of fulfilled at West Tigers. But he's come to the Storm, and he's living up to every bit of that. I suppose that prospect of that ability and the talent that everyone had sort of foreseen as he was coming through as a junior prodigy. I actually anticipated that he would be used primarily as a middle forward, just purely the fact that he's got impact and leg speed, which is something that the Storm have highlighted is an area of weakness at the moment that they're still trying to fill a void. But for whatever reason, they've decided to use him primarily as an L4, a left edge back rower, and he's made that position his own, and he's continued to improve week in, week out. I suppose individually, yes, but he's had a lot. I suppose the other thing too that you've got to be aware of is that he hasn't really had time to build a strong combination with Cameron Munster.
Yep.
Because Munster's obviously been out, but the games that they did play together, they looked very, very dynamic and very dangerous. So I'd love to see the amount of repetitions that they are doing in training. Obviously, Wishart is primarily filling in that role at the moment, and all of those sort of opportunities that when he is getting into open space, broken field, scoring tries close to the line, it's coming off the back of him rather than him being put in situations to be able to penetrate the line. So I think you'll see Bloor's game to go to a whole new level when Munster does return.
Yeah, definitely great penetration. Righto, Stats Man, what have you got for us this week?
Very nice, Josh. Okay, so I don't have too much this week. I was kind of having a look through the stats on NRL.com to see where we shape up in regards to the Storm, where we might have a little bit of an advantage or something in our game that we can do fairly well compared to them. Honestly, there's not a lot. Obviously, Storm are top of the table. We're bottom of it. Our offloads, though, we've played the same amount of games, both had 2 buys. We've offloaded 158 times to the Storm's 152. We are 4th and they are 5th, so that's probably one of the main ones there that we are going to have to probably try and stop them, is the offload game. And our conversion percentage so far this year has actually been pretty good, I'd say. I think, here we are. So we are at 81% success rate for our conversions. The Storm are at 79, and we are 6th and they are 7th. So there's a little bit there where we're pretty neck and neck, but we've got a slight advantage. And this game is our chance to go 4 in a row at Leichhardt for the first time since we won 7 games between 2009 and 2011. So we won 7 in a row at Leichhardt, including a win there against the Storm. We've gone 3 in a row since then a few times. In 2013, we won 3 in a row. 2017, we won our last 2 there and our first one in 2018. And obviously we're on 3 in a row now. So it would be nice to go 4 in a row at Leichhardt for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah, the last time Yeah, 2015. We haven't beat the Storm in Sydney since 2015, and I do have the team list I brought up there. So that was the Teddy, Mitch Moses, Brooks, threesome in the core there, and Woodsy as well. So we still have the big four. I think it was Ivan was coach back then. When for those trying to picture it, they were wearing the silver not Iron Man, the silver dude. What's the silver marble jersey that we had? Someone might tell me. I don't like comic book movies. I had the jersey. I got no fucking clue what he's called.
We had a Rocket Raccoon one, but I forget.
Yeah,
who
that
the
was
other
after
one
that.
was.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the silver version of Iron Man, whatever his name is. Paddy
Silver Surfer?
Richards. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Silver Fox. 5 out of 6 that night from Paddy Richards and a try, so 14 points. Paddy Richards. And then the Storm had quite the side. So Munster was at fullback. Korobedi scored a double on the wing. Will Chambers and Tohu Harris in the centres. Matt Duffy on the wing. Where is Matt Duffy now? He's in England, isn't he? Blake Green and Cooper Cronk, the halves. Jesse Bromwich, Felice Kafusi, front row. Cameron Smith at hooker. You might remember him. Kevin Proctor, Kenny Bromwich, back row. Funakane at lock. And then Glasby, Hinchcliffe, our old mate, Mahe Fanua, and Christian Welch on the bench. Hell of a side. I would argue that side is better than the side running out for the Storm on Saturday. Like, you got a couple of goats in there, and then a young West Tigers side, carved them up that night. Not sure what your memories are of that night. Gobs, were you at Leichhardt Oval that night?
I was, and that Matt Duffy you referred to is not the Matt Duffy from the Dragons. It's a different Matt Duffy. He's currently the academy coach at the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, there you go.
He was a New Zealander who played for the Auckland Blues as well. So he's a cross-coder.
There you go. I was trying to make a Duff beer joke, but I couldn't think of one. Boys, were you nice? Were you there that night, Roberto? Or Az?
I can't remember. I'll be honest, I can't remember. I probably was, but I actually can't remember.
I think I was.
I do remember seeing this game on TV, and I vividly and I vaguely remember it because of the Marvel jersey thing that we had that weekend. So I do vaguely remember this game, not in great detail though.
Stephen said we don't serve duff. I was gonna say this. We don't serve duff. We're gonna serve fud. Can I have a clean glass? Well, here you go, Your Majesty. Right, Rob Shadamas, what have you got? Anything for us at this point of the week, or should we put something out on the socials? So, of course, we like to bet with Chase Bet. Head to westtigers.com.au and sign up to Chase Bet if you haven't already through that link, and then send them a little DM. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I have a double-digit pony for you on Saturday at Randwick, provided the races go ahead. It's in race 3, and it's called the Extreme Cat. I don't know what price it is on Chase Bet, because I would say they wouldn't have their fixed bet odds out yet. It'd just be sort of tote only at the moment. But I would say you'll get somewhere between 10 and 12 to 1 each way, and I think it's a really good shout this week. So the Extreme Cat, Randwick race 3. Extreme
Cat, just like trying to think of a Storm player. Who's the Extreme Cat or the Melbourne Storm? I'm trying to think.
Extreme Cat.
Who would you more likely to say? Who's more likely to get caught? Probably Solomona. I'll call Solomona. Come at me. What are you going to do? Squash me? Righto, thanks, Rob Shadamas. Look forward to Saturday. I don't think it's meant to be that much rain in Sydney on Saturday. I think it should be all right. Might be a heavy track, but
the heavier the better.
Right.
Yeah. I think the heavier will definitely see the game go into more of an arm wrestle.
We're talking about horse racing, but yeah, that too. Right, on to the other games. Back to 8 games. When was the last time we had 8 games in a round? It's got to be a few weeks.
3 weeks ago. Yeah. The Origin period, it's the weeks that are mostly affected where all the players are out is 5 games. The week after is 7. And then the week before teams get selected for the following game is the full 8. So after this week, there'll be another 5, then another 7, and then 8s for the rest of the year.
Righto. I've gone the filthy Parramatta Eels. Don't feel good about it, but don't like the Rabbitohs either. I don't know. They're at home. Moses is playing. I've gone Eels in this one, even though they're underdogs, and the Bunnies are running hot. Az and Rob have gone the favourites in the Rabbitohs. So, yeah, I don't know. I've gone the home team in this one. Boys, either you got a theory for the Rabbitohs?
I got one theory, guys. I could make a case for 7 of these games going to Golden Point this week. So it's literally a coin flip. If you ask someone who knew nothing about rugby league, they're probably more of a chance of getting more right this weekend than any of us. So really, really hard game to pick. I was a little bit concerned that apparently Mitch Moses went off in the dressing room at his players last week after the game with their loss against Newcastle. So I'm sure Parra are going to be pretty fired up. Moses is in great form, but I just think South have got a bit more to play for. I think Parra's season's done after that loss last week, but I would not be every game I have tipped literally with 0 confidence.
I think also, Robbie, you look at that South Sydney team and they're starting to get all their personnel back as well.
Yeah, they are. Like it's their forwards that have been the letdown all year. And having Cam Murray go back, just those extra quick, just play the balls and a little bit more go forward. Cookie's in great form. Like there's an argument that Cookie could have been on the bench for Origin, backing up Appy, but somehow we went with Reece Robson, who didn't do a bad job in game 2. Look, they got some players coming into form, and Latrell's finding his feet again. So hard to beat. But I mean, I keep looking at Parramatta's pack, and then the fact they got Gutho and Mitch Moses and a bit of strike out wide. I just think, how are these blokes coming almost last? It's crazy.
We've all gone the Sharkies up against the Titans at home. Sharkies quite heavy favourites in this one.
I'd say this is actually closer to a home game for the Titans, considering it's at Coffs Harbour, and I think that is it?
Closer. Okay.
Yeah, right. I think that's much closer to the Gold Coast than it is to Cronulla.
About halfway, I reckon. It's half-ish.
Maybe, somewhere around there.
Yeah, about half.
I'd be expecting a bit of a bounce back from the Sharks this week. They're not in great form, losing to the Bulldogs last week. In Golden Point will definitely have stung. I think they'll bounce back. Titans are going all right. Still dealing with some injuries, but I think the Sharks have a little bit more to play for at this point in time too.
Yeah, what if they go the big banana while they're there? I've gone Broncos. Rob's gone Broncos, but as you've gone Panthers. Who are the favourites, but Rob and I are tipping the upset with the Broncos at home.
Yeah, this one is really tricky. Obviously, the Broncos are probably going to want to make a bit of a statement, but they just seem to be in too strange form at the moment. They haven't won a single game during the Origin period. The only points they've gotten are from their 2 buys. As a result, they've slipped out of the top 8. There's still no Adam Reynolds, and I just think the Panthers have a little bit more consistency. Obviously, their Origin players are all back. Isaiah Yeo was the only Origin player for them that played last week, and he started off the bench, and he's back in the starting side as well. I'm expecting this one could potentially be a little bit of a blowout in the Panthers' favour.
All right, that confidence. I don't know. Brisbane at home, they're trying to get their season back on track. That's my theory, Rob.
Oh, look, they rested Walsh, Carrigan, Haas last week. They're desperate. They have to find a win. I wanted to tip Penrith, but I know Luai's back this week, and obviously Dylan Edwards. But again, they were so awful against the Cowboys. I don't know. Penrith have got a better pack, but it's just another coin flip, guys. And I can see why Penrith are favourites, but Brisbane have to win. They're just desperate. But again, it's the first 3 games that we've just looked at. I could have easily tipped the other 3 teams. It's just too hard this week. I wouldn't be putting $1 on any of these games.
Gobs, you got to Broncos or Panthers?
Oh, I tend to lead towards the Panthers, but I do concur with your sentiments in terms of this is a game which could really be season defining for the Broncos, and they're probably going to be desperate, especially obviously with Origin game 3 leading up as well. So they'll want to try and get a win going into Origin, knowing that they're not going to be without their stars going into game 3. So desperate times calls for desperate measures, but I don't know. I just think the professionalism of the Panthers just may be too much with their defensive resolve as well. So 1-12 Panthers.
Righto, Saturday afternoon as we make our way over to Leichhardt for the game after this, as we'll have to roll our windows up as we drive through Homebush because the Bulldogs are playing against the Warriors at a core stadium at 3 o'clock. I've gone the Bulldogs, as has gone the Bulldogs. Rob, you've gone the Wars.
Look, a true story. The Warriors were going to be my Rob Stradamus tip this week. And then this morning I heard the very sad news that the late Jeff Robinson passed away this morning. So I just now think the Bulldogs are going to be revved up because Robbo was an amazing player for Canterbury back in the late 70s and early 80s. Ran the ball up like no one else. And the crowd used to roar. I used to get scared when I was at Belmore. Like as soon as he got the ball, it was just an almighty roar. So I kind of feel like they're going to have a lot to play for, but I'm loving the Warriors when Tamare Martin's at halfback. They just seem to be a totally different team, and this is their season. They have to win. I think, the Bulldogs have they're playing really well. They've got a really good defensive line, but what I saw in the last 15, 20 minutes against Cronulla were putting holes in them up the middle, and I think New Zealand have got a really good forward pack, but like I say, now with the emotion of the occasion on Saturday, and I know they'll be doing a minute's silence and a bit of a, sort of a tribute to the family there. It could be the other way around. So hence why I pulled back my Wars special this week. But I actually thought they were going to win. They still might.
Gobs, are you old enough to remember him playing against the Magpies?
I am. My father used to take me to Belmore Sports Ground. My family's born and bred in Belmore. So I spent a lot of my childhood at Belmore and seeing the Wild Man, who I think was probably the first, if not the first, one of the first that really coined the phrase "off the back fence." He was a terror charging into those opposition defensive lines, and who could forget him completely demolishing the Parramatta wall?
When he took out Sterling.
Yeah, I think every rugby league fan took great delight in seeing that. So, Varley, Robbo.
I'm going to be honest.
I always compare it to at Leichhardt Oval when Larry Corra got the ball, sitting in the grandstand, you could just see the hill rise with anticipation and excitement. And as soon as Robbo got the ball, and you knew, it didn't matter how many defenders there were in the line. He was like a bowling ball coming down at a full rack of 10 pins at the end of the lane, and he didn't care who he skittled, and he generally knocked over that first defender. I've never seen a bloke run harder at the line. He was just incredible. And he wasn't the biggest bloke in the world. He was probably 5'11" or something like that, but he had the long hair, the big beard. He looked really intimidating, and he was just a character. And even if you didn't like it, everyone hated Canterbury. But everyone loved Robbo, he was just that sort of character.
Yeah, he just had that cut through, didn't he, across all fan bases? Everyone just loved him. He was a cult hero.
Yeah.
R.I.P. I'm going to be honest. I have no memory. I'm obviously not old enough to remember him, but yeah.
Rob and I are showing our age.
Yeah, a little bit, but thoughts and love to his family, nonetheless, because he wasn't overly old either. So very sad, and obviously you guys speak so highly of him. So I'll have to catch some highlights of him. As we move on with the tips, it's our game. So obviously, fuck it, I'm tipping the Tigers. I don't know. This is part bias, part my tips are going so shit. I don't give a shit anymore that I'm just going to throw it out there and go the boys. Actually, I think you tipped the Storm and I'll put the Tigers there. I think you were a coward in this one. I've gone. We're coming to the $3.18. We were $4, so that's interesting. I don't know. Leichhardt, get it, do it, boys. Come on. I could be wrong. Who cares? It's only tipping. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? I bet a tip wrong, but I don't know. Did you tip Tigers or Storm? I think I put Tigers there, but I think you did tip Storm.
Yeah, in the picture I sent you, I did tip the Storm. I will say though, in my defense, it is double points at the Ermington pub this week, and I'm pretty close to the bottom of the comp in that one. So I feel like I'm going the safe tip in that. I might change my tip to the Tigers a bit closer to the game for especially if, like Rob said, if Justin Olam plays, I think I may tip us because I think that puts it maybe a little bit more in our favor, only ever so slightly. But yeah, like for at least for now, I'm going the safe bet with the Storm because I need the double points.
Gobs, how confident are you on Saturday?
I'm worried. I see these games as danger games. Even last week against the Raiders, to me, I'm always more confident when the Storm come up against more of the top tier teams because they have that sort of tendency to lift and stay in the game mentally. These games are always a danger game, in my opinion, especially with obviously the home ground advantage at Leichhardt. It is an intimidating place to play for opposition teams. And again, the outs of not having Harry Grant there, specifically in and around the ruck, and having to contend with the scheming mastermind of Api Coruscant, I think he'll definitely start to ask a lot of questions about the middle forwards of the Storm. And if West Tigers are to win, I think that's probably the area that they've got the upper hand and the advantage in. The West Tigers pack holds its own. If anything, they've probably got more impotence, more punch through the middle than what the Storm do. The Storm are so heavily reliant upon Nelson, and as soon as he sort of goes off, the momentum actually goes with him. Due to that fact, they haven't got that sort of sustained leg power, leg speed that can generate and keep that sort of momentum that he sort of generates. To me, that's a worry, that's a concern. So, and there's no point in having Fine China in the back line if you're not going forward. I mean, that's Rugby League 101, right? So, to me, if West Tigers are to get the chocolates, it'll be in and around the ruck area.
And Rob, you said earlier, Olam in, going Tigers, Olam out, going Storm.
Olam in, going Tigers. Look, I look at it slightly different to Gobs. I actually think we've got to defend the kick. I see them having a better aerial threat. I see them putting grubber kicks in, for like lead runners and diving on a loose ball in the in goal. We've got to watch the Storm kicking game. I think we can match them in the forwards. I think if Olam's there, we can definitely sort of tackle their backs and handle their edges. But it's how we defend their kicking game. So expect guys like Appy to be charging out of the line, putting pressure on Munster, just like he did a couple of weeks earlier against the Titans and the Raiders. So I just hope that's the case. But Melbourne are, just like I said earlier before Gobs came on, they're very match hardened. They're as Aaron said, they've been winning ugly, a lot of the games this year, but they seem to know how to win. We saw them win a game at the death, scoring 2 tries in the last 3 minutes against New Zealand earlier in the year. They're just winners and they know how to win. And we need to really build our game on Melbourne and sort of learn from a team that knows how to win. And I think Leichhardt can bring it out in us. The reason I say Olam, I'm not saying Olam's a god. It's just, no offense to Fata Ape, but even in the first few rounds this year at centre, he was missing 4 and 5 and 6 tackles every week. He's just a defensive liability. And if he's up against Grant Anderson, like, Anderson will score a try. So I'd just rather have Adam there defending him and Olam, marking Howarth on the other side.
And Olam will be up for the game too against his old team as well. That's the other thing.
Won't he ever?
He's up for every game.
Yeah, he'll lift. He'll lift, but by him lifting, it'll rise everyone else as well. I also think that the kicking game of Caesar could be a point of difference as well. Jerome Hughes, from a general play kicking game, hasn't got a very big boot. Tyrone Wishart is a noted kicker as well. They don't have a kicking game with Bronson Garlick at the ruck either. So I think if there is a point of difference, I think Caesar's general play kicking, in being able to sort of play the possession game and keep turning the Storm around, that potentially could be an area of strength for West Tigers as well. When Storm do get into good ball, yes, the crossfield kicks obviously are a threat, but from a general play kicking game, the Storm actually, that's probably one area of weakness.
Yeah,
I think what can potentially work in our favour for this game as well is the fact that the Storm have been winning ugly. Because if we can stay in the grind and keep it close, we may be able to find a way to run over the top of them at the back end. Obviously, the Leichhardt factor is going to be a thing. If it's a close game towards the back end, say the last 10 minutes, I think the crowd really could be a chance of getting this one over the line. Hopefully we get a crowd 10,000 plus. I think the team deserve that, considering our last two games at home have been wins. Obviously, the Leichhardt one was a very ugly win. The one at Campbelltown was a brilliant win. Hopefully it's Leichhardt's turn to have a brilliant win again.
Yeah, hopefully that feels full.
It also comes down to discipline too, right?
Hope not.
That's been our bugbear this year.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I've gone the Cowboys at home. The other boys are gone. The Manly Sea Eagles up there. Is Tommy Turbo back? Is he?
He's in the
He's
centres.
back in the centres.
I didn't know that, but I don't know. I'll still go Cows at home. Yeah, Tommy got him in the centres. Okay, that's interesting. What's the reasoning for that? To just ease his workload, I guess.
Yeah, to preserve the injuries that he's been getting. Yeah, exactly right. Reduce his workload and see how it goes from there. But look, they're desperate again. Like Cowboys have been playing pretty well lately, and obviously they won without all their Origin players against Penrith last week. So, you know, I'm a bit of a madman tipping an away team, but Manly just go from, you know, like ebbs and flows in the way they play. Like they can look like world beaters against the best teams, and they look like shit against the worst teams. So I just think we're going to get the best version of Manly this week. DC was too quiet in Origin the other night. I don't know. I just think it'll be a really good, fast, open game with plenty of tries if the weather's good up there.
Yeah, a lot of big ins for Manly, and the Cowboys' defense this year, despite them being in the top 8, their defense is absolutely abysmal. I think Manly definitely have the players to exploit that.
Gobs, any opinion on this game?
I support two teams. I support the Melbourne Storm and whoever's playing them.
The Silver Tails, of course.
For the Cowboys.
An Anzac rematch, I guess. Allianz Stadium, Roosters, Dragons. The Dragons are $4.10 in this. The Dragons have looked all right, but yeah, the fucking Roosters, they're too good. We obviously learnt that last week. Has anyone got any reason for Dragons to have an upset?
No, this was the one game I thought was a lock, to be honest. This is the one game that I had a little bit of confidence in, although the Roosters are going to have, you know, a couple of, you know, a makeshift centre and an old centre in Jennings and Tupanua. But I don't think Tupanua's any slouch, given that he nearly ran down a Canterbury winger the weekend before last on a long run. So, yeah, I think the Roosters are too good. Good.
The Dragons are a lot better than the team that lost 18-60 on Anzac Day, but I still think the Roosters will be too good for them in this one.
And last game down in Canberra, they've taken on the Knights. We've all gone the Knights. Ponga is back, I believe.
He is,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're a completely different team when he plays. I mean, Canberra at home, I was tempted, but ladder wise, they're in the top 8, aren't they? They're still, I don't know, they're falling out of it. Okay, but they're in the hunt. They're in the hunt for the 8, so they've got something to play for. Where are the Knights sitting? I don't look at the table. I'm going to be honest. I don't hardly look at the table.
The Raiders are 10 and the Knights are 11, I think. Or it's either 11.
Yeah, they're both on 18. Yeah, they're both on 18, 2 points behind the Dragons, who are probably going to lose. Yeah, it's a pretty important game, this one. But yeah, we've all on Knights. Anyone got any argument for the Canberra Raiders?
I'm tipping. I'll tip the Knights, but I think if Canberra are to win, it'll be on the basis that you don't want to see the Newcastle Knights be complacent with Ponga returning. They've done so well without him in terms of being able to amass wins and not have that reliance factor which they've previously had. Just because he returns now, you don't want to see that mindset change to say, oh, Kalen's going to bail us out if we get into strife. I think that's potentially an area where mentally they could fall into. If they do fall into that, well, the Raiders have plenty of strike. They've got no problem scoring points. And I think it will just be more along the lines of between the years for the Knights if they do manage to drop this game, as opposed to if you look at what they've got on paper and the way they've been performing, they should get the victory. But it's just sometimes coming and having that X factor player come back into your team, people start to sort of relax a little bit and take the foot off the pedal. Not saying that's going to happen, but if it did happen, that's probably that's where they're vulnerable in that regard.
The bookies kind of take notice of all of the big inclusions as well. I remember when preliminary odds came out for this game, the Raiders were actually the favourites, and now the Knights have taken over, and that's probably due to the Kalen Ponga factor and the fact that the Raiders are in a little bit of a slump. Obviously, they lost to the Cowboys the week before they got smashed by us, and then they sort of kind of kept it close with the Storm last week, but the Storm were a little bit too good and the Raiders were a little bit too meh. I just like the Knights in this one. I think they're a really good chance of getting this win here, especially with Ponga back. I think that's going to really ignite the team. And yeah, whichever team wins this game is going to put a little bit more pressure on the teams in the top 8, could potentially find themselves in the top 8, depending on how the other results go. But yeah, the loser as well could slip away a little bit.
The Magpies in New South Wales Cup and our Jersey Flegg side are both playing at Henson Park against Cup's playing against Newtown, and the Flegg team are playing against the Sharks. So Newtown Jets, they are Sharks second grade. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Naden named it fullback. Ali Marlowe on one wing. Who else we got in there? Lob City's back on a wing. Fainu and Sullivan in the halves. That's that'd be interesting. Talon the Silver at 9. Ruben Porter's gone back down there. Who else we got in there? Kit Lali is at lock. Jordy Miller coming off the bench as well. So yeah, pretty. Look, I thought last week the Cup side looked pretty good, and they got towed up by the Panthers. But Henson Park, 3:00. So Henson Park. How quick can you get from Henson Park to Leichhardt to do both? It'd be pretty.
10 minutes, mate. Nothing.
Yeah,
10 minutes.
Straight through Marrickville. Normally with traffic, get a park, and maybe you could probably do both, but
easily.
Yeah,
it's good to see Leichhardt back. I think is the big thing. He's obviously been missing for quite some time, so I'm really happy to see him back, and I really hope he goes well.
Could I say something that would probably piss off you two old blokes? Henson Park is a shit place to watch football. I know people love it.
Best.
It's shit. It's so far away from the football. It's not that good. It's overrated. I love that they've created the atmosphere, and it's probably the best second grade team, and they got their little cult following. But it's a shit place to watch. AFL fields don't work for rugby league games. I'm sorry. I'm probably pissed off. Every single person born before 1980 probably just had a heart attack. Me saying, but I don't enjoy. I've been there once, and it's cool, and the history and that sort of thing, but it's not meh. Whatever.
Take your son on the football with you, mate. You got plenty of room to kick a ball while you're watching a game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, Lidcombe Oval's good for that too. I did that last weekend, literally at Lidcombe Oval. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I got no emotional attachment to it myself and never went there as a kid. The idea of parking your car at the footy sounds good. I don't know if you can still. I think you can still do that at Henson Park. Yep. So that's cool. I like the fact that you could back your car and sit in your boot. All right, I'll give you that. That's
okay.
That sounds good. But Henson Park overrated.
I thought it'd be right up your alley with all your hipsters, millennials, and craft beers.
I do like a craft beer. I do like a craft beer.
There you go. That's I thought for sure you'd be.
Don't mind a Young Henry's. Pale Ale. Yeah, it's a good, not a bad beer. Yeah, Jersey Flag are playing at 1 p.m. over at Hanson Park, and the girls as the New South Wales Premiership. So there's a few friend of the show Tess Staines in the centres there. So a few of our NRLW girls getting a run around at the Zurich Centre on Saturday at 2 p.m. So that'll finish at 3? You could easily make that and then head.
Yeah, you'd be able to make that one because that'll be done by about 3:30. Yeah, like 3:30.
It's only a 70-minute game. Yeah, and a good place. I reckon it'd be a good place to watch footy, unless you don't need binoculars at Concord Oval. But we
were there for the Members' Day a few weeks ago, and obviously it was just watching the teams train, but it was a really good view, even from the seats over on the far side. Maybe they'd let you sit on the seats in front of the Zurich Centre itself. But yeah, I don't know if we'll get to see much of this game, but our development players from last year are all running around in this one because they've got first grade contracts now, plus a couple of our new signings, including Cheyenne McGlone. I think there's a lot to like about this team. We'll see a lot of these faces in the NRLW team in a while, but a lot of them are probably just going to be sticking around in this competition, obviously with the Harvey Norman Women's Premiership now acting as a bit of a second grade team competition for the NRLW. So it'll be interesting to see how things shape up. I don't know how big the squads are. There's a lot of, obviously, youngsters. I think your cousin is one of the youngsters who's gotten the call up into the squad.
She's not listed there. Maybe another week.
She might get a little bit more
she's
of
in
a
the
run
squad.
around.
She's in the squad, yeah.
Once the NRLW starts proper, I think we'll see a lot of those girls who got the call up from the junior grades come into the team then.
Yeah, Ellie Barnett, for those who don't know. He's my second cousin once removed, I think. Patreon time. Right, the guys submitted some questions. Samuela Fainu fan. I got no fucking clue. Everyone's changed their name in the Discord to who their favorite player is. Fan club. It's a bit of a running joke at the moment, so I got no idea. I lost track of who they all are. Samuela Fainu fan club said Benji got this one horribly wrong. Obviously talking about the Roosters game. Fatape on the wing playing very conservative tonight. Set us up for failure. Roosters already too strong as it is. Sione Chicken Wings, aka Ben, said tonight's show where Benji is at it as a coach got scared by little rain, decided to throw in the game plan. We actually looked good with last week. To then try and outmuscle the best pack in the comp, he needs to take ownership of this one. In my opinion, between the game plan and selections, it wasn't good. Bringing up old wounds. Oh, Brocker, man.
Jeez.
Brocker, mate, write some songs of Airborne. You've written an essay here. Maybe get the boys at Airborne to turn this into a song. Jesus Christ. All right. Why does Benji continue to pick Fatape? He got shown up against the Titans, and to be fair, we were lucky we didn't get exposed more that game. We were lucky to get a win. Did I expect us to win yesterday? No, but I've always felt, especially this year, we have always been in games, and there's always a glimmer of hope. With our experienced players coming back, I thought maybe we might see more improvement, but the more experienced players coming back yesterday didn't improve the team and they went backwards. Yes, they were playing the Roosters. I expected better. Nathan Clemmer and Bateman don't deserve to be in the team. With their experience, they bring dumb football, brain explosions, and ill discipline. Some of the halves last tackle plays left a lot to be desired, didn't take the game on when they should be, especially in that first 20 when we had the chance to attack. Porter had to go and was the best forward on ground who has only played a handful of games. Stefano, take a look at the players around you while you're shopping yourself around and there's blokes on minimum wage outperforming you. All the talk through the week about taking on JWH. You failed to take him on one-on-one or bark and no bite. So Brocker on a rampage there, yeah. Put rock and roll in that one. Shane Colt sent us $5 on a super chat. Good on you, Shane. So not only does he support us on the Patreon, he support us as well. He said, up the Maggie's Gobs. Guys, if you want to lock James Webb in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest Friday morning, $1.57 for over 48.5 hot dogs. Didn't the guy got...
That's the thing, is it?
I've never seen a line on a hot dog eating competition.
Yeah, it's a 4th of July thing.
I love it.
Not sure if Riff is in the comments still from Miami. The guy who wins it every year is being banned for some reason. I can't remember why, and I don't know why I know this.
Joey
but
Probably to give everyone else a chance.
what's his name? Sorry, Gobs.
Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, they banned him for some reason. They've done the Melbourne Storm. They've kicked him out of the comp.
No, he signed a deal with a vegan hot dog company.
Oh, he's going right. Okay.
I love it. You are
story.
full of information, Gobs. Good on you.
I mean,
Jason
it gives
D
everyone
said-
else a chance at the very
This
least.
Yeah.
Jason
well,
D
James
said
Webby,
Brocker was
who's
running
from
wide and free.
Australia.
Nice. There's Riff. He said, I think you need more innuendos. This is Riff from Miami. You need more innuendos. Just wondering, were you wearing pants during this one?
You should have had a bib on. That's for sure.
Define pants.
Drooling and salivating all night long, Josh. We could see.
Yeah. If you saw the laptop tilting backwards towards the roof, we're talking about Sean Bloor, maybe you might have noticed that. Righto. Speaking of which, we'll review the game on Monday, 8:30 p.m. It'd be good to get out to Leichhardt. All three of us are heading out there, aren't we, boys?
Certainly am.
I'll be there.
Will you be there, Gobs?
I will be. I look forward to lining up for 45 minutes to get a beer.
It's not. Is it that long? I don't know. I don't normally.
I was being facetious.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the amateurs go at half time for a beer. That's the problem.
I might do the
stock up.
yeah.
It doesn't seem that long.
Yeah, I might do a pub crawl prior to the game.
A pub. Yeah, it's well. There's no game before it, so you might as well. But yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us again on another Tigers Storm preview. Really enjoyed that. Gave us some great insight into the Melbourne boys, and yeah, we'll see you at Leichhardt. Catch up. Maybe we'll catch up for a beer once you get to the end of that line. Grab a beer. Yeah, we'll I'll share a Pepsi Max and beer with you. Anything else, boys, before we say goodnight to Big Dog?
No, just thanks to Rob, to Gobs, and good to have someone on the show that knew who Robbo was and knows what the Canterbury Berries were and the Newtown Blue Bags were and Henson Park.
Do you know why they're called the Blue Bags? Do you know that? Do you want a fun fact to finish the show?
I'd love a fun fact.
Because they used in the early days they wore potato sacks which were blue.
Oh, there you go. So you do know Newtown were the Blue Bags.
I know the history. I'm just saying it's a shit place to watch footy. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the history.
That hipster's coming out.
I'm not a hipster. I do like craft beer, but I'm definitely not a hipster. I drive a V8 that fucking uses 30 liters per 100 clay. I fucking love killing the ozone layer. Global warming's great. I'm not a hipster.
Well, you're certainly not a friend of Anthony Albanese then.
Yeah, we'll leave politics for another day. Righto, boys. As always, thank you to everyone who joined us on the YouTube. If you are listening back on the audio version, join us Monday night if you can, 8:30 p.m. But love yous all. Thank you very much. We joined us from Belgium, from Miami, from wherever you are in the world, even Oran Park. But righto, boys. As always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at Patreon.com/WestsLife and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast.